Welcome everyone, my name is Jacob, this is Hunt Detail, thank you for joining me, and in my hand I have a variety of stealth strip pads. It normally comes in rolls and it's about $2.10 a foot, which can be pretty pricey when you're trying to wrap a stick. And so the question is, why couldn't I use something like Camo Wrap that comes in at 33 cents a foot, or hockey tape that comes in at 22 cents a foot, or even Gaffer Tape, which comes in at 6 cents a foot? Why couldn't I wrap my sticks in that to quiet it, keep, sort of dull some of the shine, etc.? Do I really have to use stealth strips? Well, that was the question that I had, and I wanted to take a look at some of these other options in addition to regular moleskin. Now, moleskin does come in rolls, and it varies in price from 46 cents a foot to $1.06 a foot, and it's very similar in composition to stealth strips. And so what I did was a couple different things, one of which I did a decibel test, tapping a small hammer on a piece of steel with different strips of tapes across here. And I have that video probably showing here now. And what I captured was interesting. And then what I did was I took those tapes, those same tapes, and I dunked them in a bowl of water and left them there for 3 hours because I wanted to get a sense of what's sort of the durability. Now, obviously, these tapes aren't going to be underwater for 3 hours or soaked in water, but let's replicate, or let's examine the durability of this stuff, of these different fabrics or tapes underwater for that period of time and see how they do. So I want to share those results with you pretty quickly. First and foremost, from a sound standpoint, I'm going to go through them from least expensive to most expensive. Now, this is Gaffer Tape. This is 6 cents a foot. It's there's a fabric surface to it. It's often a cotton. It's used in sort of theater and production, TV productions, and that sort of thing. And it's very adhesive, but it doesn't damage whatever it's on. So I think that's one of the features of it. But it wraps around the metal surface of sticks or whatever very nicely. And again, it's 6 cents a foot. From a decibel standpoint, when I banged this hammer on it, on that piece of metal, it came at 61.6 decibels in terms of noise. Now, obviously, with all of these tapes, you can wrap a stick multiple times them and deafen the sound. But my objective was just to look at one layer of Gaffer tape or one layer of hockey tape or whatever, just to see how it performed on its own in comparison to stealth strips. So 61.6 decibels wasn't great, quite honestly. It was one of the higher in terms of sound. It didn't really dull, or it didn't do as well in terms of dulling that ping from the hammer. So let's take a look. And then from a durability standpoint, I was a little disappointed and kind of surprised, honestly, at how after 3 hours underwater, it did come off. The adhesion underneath the surface of the Gaffer Tape actually, once it was exposed, it was ruined. It did come off of the steel pretty easily. So let's go to hockey tape. So hockey tape, as I mentioned, is 22 cents a foot, very inexpensive. It's obviously a fabric tape. It's, I would say, more porous than the Gaffer Tape. And in the water test, after 3 hours, it came off. I think it was even off already. It came off pretty easily. Now, again, obviously, you can wrap a stick a billion times in this stuff, and it's going to deaden that noise, and it is effective in that way. But as a single layer, the decibels were 62.6, and so it was actually the loudest, which you would expect because one layer of hockey tape is very, very thin. So just an FYI there, hockey tape did not do very well from the standpoint of adhesion underwater or the standpoint of noise reduction. So let's move to the Camo Wrap. This is actually the packaging. You may have seen this. A lot of folks will put, wrap their rifles or shotgun barrels or other, other things of that nature in this. And it's whereas gaffer tape is a cotton, hockey tape is also a fabric. This is some sort of latex in nature, and it adheres to itself. If you've ever wrapped something in this sort of tape, as you wrap it around, as I have here on this stick, you can see that it actually sticks really well to itself, surprisingly. Now, it doesn't have adhesion built into it, so it didn't do well in the water test. It didn't sort of adhere. I had to tape it down, and I wanted to see how sort of hydrophobic it was. And it did seem to hold a lot of water, and it did seem like it would be something that I really wouldn't want on a stick if it's, a wet situation or raining. And again, would it work? Absolutely. I mean, it's now from a quiet standpoint, from a decibel standpoint, it came in at 58 decibels. So it did reduce the noise. Obviously, if you wrap this twice, it's going to do it's going to reduce that noise even more. I really do like this a lot. And again, it comes in at 66 cents a foot. It's much more sort of affordable than stealth strips, and a lot of applications for the Camo Wrap. So let's talk about moleskin. So moleskin, again, ranges in price, and this you can find links in this description to different moleskin that I would recommend. There's rolls of it. There's a thing called tactical moleskin that comes in at $1.06 a foot, and it's a very sticky bottom. It's very much a fabric surface, and did an outstanding job in the noise reduction. 47.3 decibels after 3 pings. Again, I did all of these with 3 pings or 3 hits of a small hammer. This was actually technically the quietest of the group. It was more quiet than the stealth strips. Now, I'll be honest with you, the number, when I reveal it to you, it's actually really close, and I would almost say it's as quiet. I don't necessarily would say that this is more quiet, but it did really well. I will say, when I dunked it in water for 3 hours, it did demonstrate some loss of adhesion. It wasn't, I removed it it was still stuck, but it was clear that the water had penetrated. It was impacting the stickiness of the backing here, but it was more durable than the other tapes. Actually, extensively more durable than the other tapes, but not as durable as the stealth strips. And let's get to that. So the stealth strip is wherever I put those. Again, $2.10 a foot. From a decibel standpoint, 48.6. So very close to what we saw with the moleskin. But from a durability standpoint, it's still on this piece of steel. I did peel off the moleskin, but the stealth strips, I mean, it is stuck on there. It would take a significant amount of effort to pull that off. So ultimately, those are some options to consider. I'm not making a recommendation for you. You have to choose what works for your budget and works for your setup. But I can tell you that there are some other options, both with the gaffer tape, the hockey tape, the Camo Wrap, and I would definitely recommend the moleskin if you find a color that you like. I think that this could be a real less expensive solution. But if you do decide to put down the $2.10 a foot on the stealth strips, I will tell you, you're getting a quality product. Based on my analysis, it's definitely didn't sound as good, if not better, than everything else, and it adheres really well and stays tight on that surface despite my test of durability, having it stuck in water for 3 hours. But hope you find this helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe. And best of luck this upcoming season. Thanks again.